So it is often asked, are people good or are people bad? Are people fundamentally good or are they fundamentally bad? And sometimes it is said that they're fundamentally good, and sometimes it is said that they're fundamentally bad. Well, those questions and those statements outside of a determinate context are meaningless, but here is a statement that is similar, that is meaningful. People are as good as the institutions that they work for. They are as good or as bad as the institutions that they work for. And that is the truth. And there are two reasons for it. Okay, one is that people are drawn to institutions that suit their personalities, and the other is that once you are a part of an institution, there is enormous pressure on you to be of that institution, not just in the sense that your behavior complies with its protocols, but in the sense that your emotions are in line with your behavior, which in its turn is, of course, in line with the protocols of the institution. And personal manner means very, very, very little. There is only one qualification, which is that when you become very, very experienced, if you are very adept at reading people and you also have a lot of experience, a lot of rather bitter experience up to a point, not all of it bitter, but you need to have had a few unpleasant experiences, simply because unpleasantness is generally a source of insight, although that's a matter for another podcast. But parenthetically speaking, that is because we tend to live in bubbles, in narrative, self-encapsulated narrative bubbles, the elements of which are statements that are not exactly true, not exactly false. They're vector sums of the truth and of our wishful thinking. But, and a little bit of unpleasantness, in most cases, not all, represents a kind of pinprick of reality. In any case, back to my original point, provided that you have the requisite acumen and that you have had the requisite experience, which is not too much, but it's some, you can see through the veneer, sometimes very compelling veneer of goodness or whatnot, that people who are employees of necrotic institutions and who are therefore themselves categorically necrotic human beings will dawn. So that is a very good indicator of, in fact, it's not just an indicator of what a person is like. I mean, that is constitutive of a person's being. It's not just, if a person, so I've known a lot of people who, had all the right bumper stickers on their cars and went to all the right rallies and said all the right things, but that's meaningless. The real question is, what do they do? And when you look at what they do, you have your answer. And then once you have your answer, you can go back and revisit all of that other data. And when you do so, it is striking. It all falls into place, and you see it for exactly what it is and exactly what you always knew it to be, but didn't quite, you either were not or were not willing, were not able or were not willing to admit to yourself.